Welcome to Can Women Aloud, for women, by women, for friends, by friends. And I have some friends with me here today. My name's Penny Webb. I'm the linchpin today, so that means I've got to kind of rally the troops and keep you guys on track. I'm here with Rose Parker,
Hello.
a great friend, outstanding person, OT, meaning occupational therapist, musician, singer, songwriter, storyteller, mother, sister, what else? Anyway, many things. And also Amanda Vivieres, author, friend, loves to make sourdough, knit socks.
I have one in the fridge right now, resting for when we finish today.
And creative genius. But can I just say, because we're going to do a bit of a catch-up,
Yes.
what's been happening. But you are a knitter of socks, and this is my birthday month right now. And I say birthday month because one day is not enough.
No.
It's certainly not enough
I
at
think
this
we began
age.
with the Festival of Penny when you were 50.
Yes, I just
and
said
then we've extended it ever since.
We've extended it
It's
out ever since. But you knitted me a pair of socks for my birthday.
I did. They were
I
mohair.
love them. They're beautiful. They're soft. They're gorgeous. They're colourful. It was just great.
I love to make people presents because in an increasingly consumeristic world, it's imperfect, but I think about the person I'm making them for and say a little prayer and then make them something that hopefully is more long-lasting and
it's gorgeous.
meaningful. And
It's gorgeous.
I love that, and that prayer will be embedded in that piece of thing that you've made.
yeah,
Yeah.
in
Love
the
that. So
comfort of a
intentional.
sock, in winter. And
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Cool,
So
very
I'm very
cool.
grateful. So what's been happening for you girls? Like what's been going on?
Well, I recently went on a creative writers retreat, which was very good for me because I actually love to hold space for other people to write and to retreat. But I'm actually quite bad, girls, at doing it for myself.
I hear you, honey. I hear you.
It's the doctor who won't go to the doctor,
Absolutely.
And so I went just with two other girls. It was actually a really good friend's 50th birthday. And her husband said to her, "What would you like for your 50th?" And she said, "I actually would like to go and write with a couple of really good friends."
What a great gift idea.
And so they hired a very beautiful, very simple but very intentional Airbnb in a small regional town in Western Australia. And I'm not joking, we just went to bed, were in our pyjamas and wrote for
Gorgeous.
3 nights, 4 days, and something clicked in me. Like something broke that needed to break actually. And I sat and wrote and just wrote and wrote and wrote, which is the wrong way to say it. It's like I did a lot of writing.
Was it that you gave yourself time and space where nothing else was impinging on your... There was nothing else you were
Calling on
required
you.
to do, Amanda?
I think it was that, and I think I gave myself permission not to be there for others.
Everyone else, yeah.
And I think I grew up in a very other-centric world, and it truly is a key part of my strength as well. I'm very empathetic and I love to hold space for others. But holding space for ourselves is actually harder than holding space for others, I think, because of the honesty that's required to really truly write and write in a way that brings revelation and healing and the beauty that is required. So, if there was anyone listening and you feel really stuck, I think the opportunity for you just to sit with a blank page and see what comes out is an opportunity for healing and health internally. So,
Beautiful.
what about you, Rosie?
What's been happening for you?
Great. Well, I also have just been on a retreat that I ran.
Women, can I just say, women do love a retreat.
Good. It's good.
Airbnb, great accommodation. Someone else does the cooking.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Large amounts of chocolate, a little bit of wine. Or coffee, good food, all the things, and getting away from all the roles and all the hats that we as women juggle. And if you have a creative pursuit or just want space and time, stepping away from that is integral. So I run songwriting retreats with Delilah Rose as part of our creative process and facilitating other people's creative process, Australian songwriting retreats, if you want to learn more about that. And we partnered with the York Writers Festival.
Lovely.
And they embedded a songwriting retreat into the Writers Retreat. I was just so excited about that because I just think it's a great template to facilitate. I want to encourage other people to write songs. You know, we need songs that are West Australian, written by West Australians on West Australian soil. And we had 12 people in a couple of different houses. Some had never written a song in their life. Others are performing. And, 3 nights and 2 days intense. Just amazing watching people break their fear barrier, step up and deliver songs in front of a group. So again, holding space, encouraging,
safe environment,
but also being taken to the edge of a cliff that they haven't been to before.
Yes.
And I say, lovingly and gently pushed off the edge.
I love it.
And I think one of my favourite moments was because we'll do a performance event at the end, and one of my favourite moments was a 63-year-old fellow who'd written a lot of songs, but he'd never actually performed one of his own in front of people in his life.
Wow.
And I had the privilege of sitting next to him, sitting in with him. I'd helped edit his song and doing harmonies, and he nearly broke at the end, but we kept going. Oh. And it was just
gorgeous,
absolutely a phenomenal moment to
Powerful
be a part of.
For
very,
him.
Very, and his darling wife was standing there filming because he'd sold her the weekend away by saying, we're going to go on a retreat and live in this gorgeous Airbnb in York. And she's like, oh, I'm in. By the way, I might be doing some songwriting. And so she thought she'd be off looking at historical sites and having jam and scones. But she hung with us for like 3/4 of it. And her feedback at the end was, this has been one of the most amazing weekends, because she got a little glimpse in through a window of a world she normally wouldn't see or be a part of, but she's a creative too.
Amazing.
And it was really lovely to see those boundaries and borders come off and people take a risk and be lovingly held.
Gorgeous. Okay, well, beautiful. So, girls, okay, we are talking today about closing chapters. That's what we're going to have a conversation about, closing a chapter in life and embarking in on a new one. You know, I mean, as we all know, can be both exhilarating and daunting to the max.
Yeah.
But it's an intentional move, and we turn a page, we close that chapter, and the goal is, I guess, to begin the new chapter and to navigate that transition well, with grace and with some resilience, with the least amount of tears possible, and do it bravely and strongly and clearly as best as we can. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I guess there's all sorts of kinds of chapters that get closed, you know, relationships, friendships, career changes, personal growth, life transitions. But let's kind of start by asking the question, why do we need to close a chapter?
Well,
why do you think we need to close a chapter? What does that chapter look like?
Well, sometimes you've got to leave the city where you've been living, don't you?
Yeah, well, that's one of those big life transitions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think chapters need to be closed because they no longer serve their purpose anymore. And I do believe that seasons and times, roles and places do serve a purpose, and then you have a sense that it's no longer serving that same purpose that it was meant to be, and that's when you have a choice in that. And then there are times as well when the choice is made for us, and it's the opportunity of how do we transition well when it wasn't necessarily our choice, and we've all experienced that in different ways.
Yeah, we have.
I think people can look at our life and be like, Rose is an award-winning winning songwriter and a phenomenal therapist in the way that she treats and helps people, and they can look at Penny's life and think she's a CEO of an organisation that has hundreds of staff members and volunteers and impacts daily people across the city, and they can think, oh, you must have had an easy life. Well, you must have just got opportunities, the ones that I didn't have. Actually, I think we've had very hard times of transition that we've transitioned well. Yeah. And we've allowed those challenges to grow us.
Yeah, and some of those are like our choice, and some of them the choice is taken away from us. So you have a choice then. How are you going to navigate that page that has been turned for you?
That's a good point.
Yeah. But you kind of think, there's relational changes where, maybe a friendship or romantic partnership no longer kind of serves that place for you in your future, and career changes as well. That's a big one. Then I think about there's personal growth times where you kind of go, I no longer want to be a slave of that habit.
It's great.
I think that's a big one. And I was thinking about a person that I work with right now who has, and she said to me, I'm doing this way too late, and she stopped smoking, And I said, yeah, but you've made the choice. It's a new chapter, and it was really, really hard. But, that's a very clear turning of a page. We think about personal growth, life transitions, health, wellness. There's just so many. What are some positive aspects, I guess, of closing a chapter that you kind of think about?
Oh, I was loving what you just said then about closing a chapter, like when you realise, hey, this habit doesn't serve me anymore, and that requires a process of self-reflection, doesn't it? So that's not necessarily a choice that's put upon you, but one that. What's the definition of stupidity? Doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Oh, yeah, and we can all be.
Yeah, and I can really identify to having done a mountain of work in my life to cull things that no longer serve me from an internal perspective. And I have said often, it's hard work, but it's good work.
Yeah.
And it's some of the best investment you will ever make in yourself. It's hard to end. I find endings really hard. I find leaving really hard.
Yes.
Which is pretty funny with people anyway. But I find leaving really hard, and I've had to learn that sometimes leaving is exactly what you have to do.
Oh, yeah. I hate saying goodbye.
Oh.
I'm lousy at saying goodbye, and I think some of that arcs back to my childhood. Like I'm really not good at saying goodbye to people. Like it is a big moment for me. And even when the relationship hasn't been healthy.
Easy.
Saying goodbye is often very, very difficult. And I can flick back. Chapters sometimes,
Yeah, I think, Penny, you and I have quite similar traits when it comes to that belief in people and loyalty and that sense of optimism of the world could be better, and we love to really believe the best in people. And so sometimes it's really hard to close a chapter because of our natural tendency and our choices. That we love being loyal and we love people and we love people big, and we believe in that. Just to go back to your question, Pen, I think the beauty of a chapter closing is just a fresh slate, fresh page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the
New
relief
beginnings.
sometimes of new, like we've just moved house.
Yeah.
And it was a lot. And our house was beautiful. We'd actually really just coming to the very end of the renovations and done some very personal renovations that probably don't really make sense if you're going to sell your house. We had an electric Velux put in the bathroom, and so all this beautiful fresh sea air would come into the house. And I think of the new owners now, and I'm like, I hope you enjoy that Velux. Which is ridiculous. But the new house meant that we had more space for teenagers, and this week, actually yesterday, I had 4 teenagers in the pool, big boys, like just loving life and really feeling hopefully at home in our house, because we wanted our children to be able to bring their friends and create a village around that. And so the intentional closing of a chapter, saying goodbye to our neighbours, saying goodbye to the closeness to the ocean so that we could be closer to the kids' school, and to be able to really have a different season, it's created a freshness that I didn't know that I would love, and I love it.
Oh,
I love it.
Wonderful to hear you say that,
So
Amanda.
good.
Yes.
And I can see everything you're just picturing, and as a mother who's done that, I'm just cheering you on. Like it's such valuable time what you've created, you know, your teenage boys all being there and hanging out together and making a mess and eating pizza and all the stuff.
I was like, you know what I can do? I can provide food. So I was just like, more food.
Yeah. I actually think, you know, thinking about the positive aspects for your family right now are beautiful, fantastic. But it's the new slate, it's the dawn, but it's the new opportunity because you've never been there before. And whilst on one hand it feels daunting, and I always say to people when they even come into like a new role or something, I said, you're supposed to feel a bit daunted because you've never been there before.
It's scary.
And absolutely. In fact, you wouldn't even be human if you kind of went, oh, yeah, I'm here, like you breeze in. It doesn't feel like a breeze in.
No.
It feels like it's new, but it gives opportunity, and it is a bit daunting, but it gives you opportunity for new starts about your thinking, new relationships.
Yeah.
It's an internal stretch often.
Yeah, I read a book once and I loved the title, and it's kind of what drew me to the book, and it was an okay book, but the title was awesome. And it was this: when everything changes, change everything. It's like the momentum of change brings long-lasting change in places that you weren't even aware of. And so I find myself in this new season, okay, what do I really want to commit to? I want to go to the gym 3 times a week, and I've been going.
Awesome.
And I'm going to walk the park, and there's these new little shops that we go to, and there's all these new traverses of pathways of my everyday that are building new habits. And often people will ask me, oh, Amanda, how have you been able to write the books that you've written, or how are you able to be a part of radio, or how could I grow as a creative professional? And I say to them, actually, what we long for as humans is comfort. But growth and change come in times of discomfort.
Absolutely.
And so if you are comfortable, if you are not feeling uncomfortable, if there's no level of discomfort, like sitting at this table today without a script, there's a level of discomfort that comes from that, right? But there's growth.
Yeah.
And hopefully the growth comes in not only our relationship and our connectedness, but the people who are able to listen and learn and be able to feel that sense of connection. Hey, I can grow too. And I think that's what Closing Chapters well does.
Yeah, I do. I think, and what you've kind of encapsulated there was this idea that when chapters even might be forced on you, there's something you can leverage there about this has changed, but actually maybe this is my opportunity for me to change that and that.
Definitely.
You know, you leverage the energy of the time and the moment, and I think that's quite powerful. What about you, Rose? What about some other aspects of closing a chapter?
I just really like what you said about building new habits and new routines. You have an opportunity for a little bit of reinvention, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
New work outfits.
Yes.
New hairdo.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that makes a difference, hey? It's like going and finding new places to really show up with your old you, but in a new way. And those things are really helpful for us to be able to lean into.
Why do you think, though, that it often does feel so difficult?
I know, here we are going.
I know. So we're kind of talking about all the positives, and and I actually do think there are positives. But why do you think it does often feel so difficult when you do turn a chapter?
I think fear. I think there's more fear in society than ever before. I think we live in a day and age where there's a lot of conversation around the future. And what if I make a wrong mistake? What if I lose my relationship? What if I have no money? What if I am laughed at? What if my LinkedIn doesn't look like people think it should look? Like all the what ifs. And I think what we allow is the elephant in the room of failure or fear to dominate. Actually, the opposite is, what if I fly? What if this is the best part of me that, what if this is my best season? What if this is my best yes?
Absolutely.
And I can so relate to that as a woman who's now on the other side of 60, which I was told would be, the end of life as you know it. And let me tell you, it's absolutely fantastic. And all my friends at a similar age are experiencing the same thing. So
you girls are so glorious for 60, seriously.
Yeah, but you do close chapters, you know. I do not have 40-year-old skin anymore. My skin is definitely 61 years old. But I love what I know and how I think and the energy that I have and the focus and the capacity and the knowledge and the skill level that I have. And I wouldn't trade that for anything.
And that's because society talks about the deficit.
Yeah.
That's what they go, you haven't got this now, you can't do that. Yeah, but you don't know what I've gained, what I have at this age now. So, and that's what you're saying.
Yeah. And a lot of women are saying it. Tilda Swinton, a lot of women and actresses in Hollywood and people that their actual profession have been to do with youthfulness and beauty,
that's the thing.
And they're like, oh, well, you're done now. She's like, I'm not done. I'm just getting started, as Jane Fonda did as well. 88. 86, Penny? It's 86, 88. Who?
Tell
one
our
or the
listeners
other.
what you guys did. It's super fun. Tell them what you did.
I said to Pen, we're going to Sydney to hear Jane Fonda speak, and we just flew over for that.
Flew in for a mad couple of days.
Selected outfits. We walked all around Sydney. We ate and we walked, ate and drank like every 2 hours around this divine, around the harbour of Sydney.
Yeah, gorgeous.
It was sparkling, it was sunny, it was just gorgeous.
Fantastic weather. Ferries, we went on the ferries everywhere.
We chunked so much into 48 hours, capped off with listening to this iconic Hollywood woman talk about all the chapters and seasons of her life, 3 marriages and children. Just so rich, so deep. But
Did she talk about leotards? I'm like, I think of is Jane Fonda and leotards.
Hey, we were there. We did it in those leotards with leg warmers.
We were there.
Did you girls wear the leotards that went up your bottom?
Yeah, I ran aerobics classes. Penny came. I was there 36 weeks pregnant with one of those leotards on. I did so.
Mate, that is a closing chapter moment. No pregnant woman should be wearing a G-string, seriously.
There. Yeah, we were there. I had a beautiful
maroon burgundy
with
pleats at the front.
And high on my hips.
Yeah.
And then...
beautiful. I digress, people. I digress.
I looked hot.
But we have closed the chapter on wearing G-string leotards in public.
Do you still wear G-strings now?
As underwear,
on occasion.
So I find them very comfortable.
On occasion.
No.
I do.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, moving on. Our sound engineer is rubbing his eyes, going, don't make me think of this.
Then you don't have a panty line.
Okay,
That's right, see? That's the trade. Now, what I would like to say is that...
We're talking about closing chapters here. And why does it often feel so difficult?
That's a chapter that needs to be closed,
because we hate saying goodbye. Like you and I talked about it before. And do you feel like closing a chapter, it's hard not to feel like a failure?
Well, and I think
like you've done something wrong. It's ridiculous.
And I just think...
Is it a female thing?
Well, I think as a society, we actually think it is a failure when something ends.
Right.
And it's not always a failure when something ends. It's actually okay that some things come to an end, and we can do that well, and we can do it where we kind of go, actually, that was good. That was more than good. This was the fruit of that chapter.
Yes.
But actually it's okay that ends. And I know sometimes it can be. I'm not saying it's not necessarily without pain and some sadness and grief, because I think it is sometimes and often. But it's not a failure that a chapter ends.
Yes.
I guess it's hard when one person wants it to end and the other person doesn't.
Of course.
When we're talking relationships, that's a tough gig, of course, and I have been there. And, you've got to do those kind of endings with as much honesty, respect and kindness as you can. But ultimately you have to look after yourself and step up and do that. Pull your big girl pants on and do it with as much respect and kindness as possible.
And
that's one thing. But the other thing I want to say is if we look at nature, Not G-strings, Amanda. I'm sorry, I'm looking
She's
at
gone.
She's gone. She's gone. I'm going to press into what nature does. If we look at nature and the seasons in nature, she's starting and beginning all the time.
Yeah.
My uncle's a farmer. He's starting and beginning all the time. Every Indigenous culture in the world knows you start and beginning. You weed, you plant, you rip it up, you set it on fire, and then you do it again every year. And it's actually the soil being left, the word is fallow, for a season is what allows renewal and rejuvenation in the soil so that a new crop can grow.
Yeah.
It is an essential part of a rhythm of life. And again, we have this fast speed life. It says, you've got to be producing this, that. Hello, AI has just entered the Spotify conversation in the last few weeks because we have completely fake bands falling in onto artists like myself's page and posting a song that's been created in 30 seconds. And songs are being put in there 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 singles in 4 weeks were flowing into into an artist's platform, and it was all just generated by machines. No work, no care, no... And it sounded horrific. But nothing was growing that took time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and story requires substance, right?
Yeah.
And that's what chapters do, like I am a different leader now coming to the end of my 50s than I was as I entered my 40s. Thank you.
Great. And what do you know more about yourself now, huh?
I think I know more about my triggers, things that I find difficult. So I'll find myself breathing through a moment that I might have reacted to when I was younger. I also care a little bit less about people's judgment.
Yeah. And that's a big one.
Good chapter to close, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it is a good chapter, but let's face it, voices when we are turning a page and closing a chapter is a big one. We've got our own internal.
Yes.
And we've got the external.
Yes.
And some people have a lot to say.
Yeah. And I think the older you get and the longer you've been in leadership or in business, you learn that actually this is my life, this is my choice, and this is my season.
Yeah.
And I am going to lean into what I know to be true for my story.
Yeah.
And the more that you understand yourself and your story means that you lean towards the beauty of what you are designed to give to the world.
And I think when I think about that is trusting your own values and gut in the decisions. And it's not like I will not listen to my close friends. It's not like I won't. But at some point I'm responsible and I've got to make the choice.
Yeah.
And trusting, which is why you need those values and those standards that you fall back on, because you've got to sift away so much when you're making these big choices. But at the end of the day, I've got to make the call. I've got to make the call. And it may be that I make a mistake.
And that's okay.
And that's okay too. Yeah.
The most important thing is that you then recognise that through your own process of self-reflection, isn't it? Not being told. Remember, I've got that. One of my mantras that has helped me so much in my life is when I've got to make a difficult decision is this: conduct yourself in a way that makes you feel really good about who you are. And that's helped me through a number of difficult decisions. It comes back to values, my values.
Your values. Can I
said.
look at myself in the mirror at the end of the day and go, "You're okay, girl. That was okay."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you sleep okay. Is there a right time then to close a chapter? Do you think there's a right time?
Well,
how do we know when the right time is?
I think man said it before. It's when letting go of things that no longer serve you. But that can't be a decision that's made fast, can it? We don't want to make big decisions like that reactive and out of feeling. We need a bit of space between the feeling and the decision.
Yes.
There's a book by Seth Godin called The Dip, and he talks about dips and cul-de-sacs. So a dip is a necessary rough patch that you know you need to push through to the other side, right? And then he talks about being stuck in a cul-de-sac, which is where it's a repeat of the same old pattern, shall we say?
No through road.
No change happening.
Yeah.
You are in a loop.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really interesting analogy. Is this a dip? Is this a rough patch I've got to flex some muscles, develop some new skills for and navigate? Or am I in a cul-de-sac doing the same pattern over and over again. And it's actually time for me to look at how I've helped create this and move through and move on. Obviously, I'm talking more relational.
Yeah.
But maybe you are stuck in a job where you don't have the opportunity to do the things you want to do, or some things are going down that don't sit with you well anymore.
Yeah,
I think sorry, Mans, do you want to say something?
No.
Oh, well, you don't want to say anything.
Well, I've
Gosh,
always
that's
got
unusual.
something to say, let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, I was actually just thinking for me, you know, the dip, the cul-de-sac, when's the right time? Is there a right time? I always think that it's just so critical that one of the markers for me is doing it well and being kind to oneself and others involved. So if I'm not going to be doing well for me, and if this is not going to be kind to others, you know, you kind of reconsider, or you just maybe just arc around a little bit and consider a bit more, because I don't know, that's a bit of a marker for me, is trying to do it well.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, which then reflects on when the right time.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in self-reflection, and I think as we start to read back on journaling or writing that we've expressed, we can actually start to see some patterns. And we've spoken about it in an earlier episode. If you haven't heard it, go back and listen. And we speak a lot about seasons at Kin Women. And I think it was Kelly read out the Ecclesiastes verse that talks about that there's a season
At the right time.
Yeah, there's a season for things to die, and a season to be planted, and a season for winter, and a season for summer. And I think I reflect on that in my life, and I often will ask myself really specific questions, but quite simple questions that reframe whether the season has closed. Questions like, who are my community? Reminding myself of truly who are my community? What is my contribution? How am I contributing to make the world a better place? What is my character? That sense of the things that are inchangeable, no matter whether the season has changed or closed, and being able to really clearly describe who we are in that. I think as we start to list that and write that and reflect on that, really quickly you can see actually this is no longer serving.
Yeah.
It is now time for something new.
And these are the things that kind of give you that strength and bravery to close the chapter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's those...
Character,
yeah,
community contribution, and reminding ourselves of those three things.
Kind of like, you know, the support, the good friends, you know, maybe the counsellor, the psychologist that we sometimes need. I was thinking about your song, Take the Ride. I think we should play that at the end of this, because I love that song, because that's really what this is all about.
Totally.
It's taking the ride, you know.
Because you don't, you know, and that was a season in my life where I got a real curveball thrown at me. It was really hard to navigate. It involved my employment, and it was not my choice. And it was like, you got to take the ride, buckle in. This is going to be a rough ride.
Yeah.
and it was. And I was in a situation where some things had gone down that I had to report to APRA, and as a result, I lost my job. And it looked like I was the one that had done the wrong things, and I had to hold my ground and operate and participate in the process. And I wrote a line that said, "The quiet voice will have her day." I just had to believe that truth would prevail, and it did. But it wasn't up to me to do that.
No,
I had a really important role I had to play, and then I had to be quiet. So I wrote a song. Always good.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'll pull out a journal, you'll pull out a guitar.
There you go. And it's
I'll pull out flapjacks.
Okay, great. And it's like an encapsulation. It's like it just distills
By the way, flapjacks
the lesson.
are like a really nice desserty treat.
Just go back to our, we had a bonus episode.
We did. We had a bonus episode. Funny stories.
I'm not going to recover. I'm not going to be able to finish this guy off.
Okay, I'm going to pull this.
I only just got over the G-strings, you guys.
Let's talk about dips and cul-de-sacs, shall we?
Okay, I'm going to pull this to a close. An absolute pleasure having a conversation with you. Let's be strong. Let's be brave when we make those turning of the page and we close a chapter and enter a new one. It could be a beautiful, good space. So let's believe that and trust that, and that we will do it well, but don't do it alone. So thank you. Next time, be there, We love having you with us in this conversation. So join us for more conversations. Follow us on our podcast and socials. I'd like to thank Mark Ralph, studio engineer from Elemental Sounds, Natalie Kellner, producer from Mindful Marketing. Until next time, you are our kin.